Hi students, welcome back to Wisdom Academy YouTube channel. In the previous video, you have learnt about relaxation time and drift velocity. Today we are going to solve some numericals, but before I start solving numericals, let me revise what you have seen in the previous class. So what we saw the formula of resistance and resistivity in the terms of drift velocity, relaxation time, E and N. What we came to know? We came to know that resistance R is equal to, it was ml by ne square tau A. This was the resistance formula, right? And what was the formula of resistivity? What we got? We got m by ne square tau. So you see the previous video if you have not seen to understand how these two formula have come, and then we came to know that how resistance depends upon this length and area of cross section, and why rho is independent of length and area of cross section. So we came to know that, see, m, if you see mass and number density, E, if everything becomes constant, resistance depends upon length, area and tau. So as the L will increase, R will increase. Same thing we have already seen. As the area will increase, the R will decrease. If you are wondering why it happens, it's very simple. See, if there are two rods and one rod is longer and one rod is shorter, having the same cross sectional area, then what you will understand, here the space is less, here the space is more, here there are more number of particles, so more collisions will happen. If the collisions is increasing, number of collisions is increasing, then tau is increasing. As tau is increasing, definitely the R will be reduced. So if R is reduced, so R will be increased, because tau is reducing. If tau is reducing, then R is increasing. So you can understand that when the length of the wire is increased, definitely its resistance will also increase. And when area of cross section is increased, what will happen? If you see the same length of wire, one is having this area of cross section, another is having this area of cross section. So when the width is increasing the same length, then the particles, they get more space to move. So relaxation time will increase. As the tau will increase, the R will reduce. That's the reason R and A are inversely proportional to each other. So tau, relaxation time, depends upon how the nature of the material is. And resistivity, it is independent of length and area of cross section, but definitely it depends upon tau once again. So as the material will change, the rho will change. And I told you that we classify the materials into conductors, semiconductors and insulators based upon its resistivity only. Let us see this question. So this question says that find the time relaxation between collision and free path of electrons in copper at room temperature. They have given resistivity of copper, they have given the number density of copper, and they have also given the drift velocity of the electrons in the copper. So relaxation time means they ask you to find the value of tau, and mean free path, that is length, they are asking you to find. So we know that how tau depends with the resistivity. We know rho is equal to m by ne square tau. So mass of electron we know, number density is given, E also we know, rho is also given, we can find tau. So what is rho? Rho is given as 1.7 10 to the power minus 8, that will be equal to, what is mass of electron? 9.1 10 to the power minus 31 kg, divided by, what is number density given? 8.5 into 10 to the power 28, into E is 1.6 10 to the power minus 19, the whole square, and tau. So with this equation, we will be able to find the value of tau, which will be equal to 9.1 10 to the power minus 31 divided by 8.5 into 10 to the power 28 into 1.6 into the power 10 to the power minus 19 the square, and 1.7 into 10 to the power minus 8. So when you solve this expression, these many seconds will be the relaxation time of the electrons. How to find the mean free path? That also we can find, because free path will be equal to, length will be equal to velocity into distance, drift velocity is known, tau will be known. When you multiply these two quantities, you will get the mean free path. So it will be equal to whatever tau value you get from here, multiply with the Vd, that is 1.6 into the power minus 4 into this tau value will give you the mean free path of the electrons. Let us see the next topic, that is mobility of particles, charged particles rather. So what is mobility? You have understood that the charged particles, that is the ions in the case of liquids, holes and electrons in the case of semiconductors, and of course electrons in the case of conductors, are the mobile charge carriers. They are responsible for the carrying of current. So what is mobility? Mobility is drift velocity per unit electric field. It is represented by a quantity called as mu. So mobility mu is equal to drift velocity per unit electric field. This is the mobility's formula. So from here you can understand, we know what is the formula of drift velocity. Drift velocity is equal to E into tau by m, isn't it? So let me put the value of Vd here. So mu will be equal to E into tau by m, and already E was there, E gets cancelled. So I get mu is equal to E tau by m. Now if it is mobility of electrons, then it will be mobility of electrons is equal to E into tau by mass of electron. If it is mobility of holes, that is positive particles, then E into tau by mass of holes. This is the formula of mobility. In the case of electrons, it is E tau by mass of electron. If it is hole, it is E tau by mass of electron. Let us relate this mobility with the current. So first we will see for conductors. So for conductors, who is responsible for the movement of charges? Electrons are responsible. So I is equal to NEA into Vd, right? So we can put the value of Vd from here. Vd is mu into E. So I will become equal to NEA mu into E. I like mu E for electron. So we have understood and we have derived a relationship between the current and the mobility for conductors, because in conductors we have only electrons as the mobile charge carriers. Let us see for semiconductors, because for semiconductors both electrons and holes will be the charge carriers. So for semiconductors, if you see, the current I is due to both electrons and the holes. So then what is IE? IE, I will write it as NEA Vd, or I should write N of electron EA Vd into E plus N of hole into E into area into Vd into E, isn't it? So then if you just put the value of Vd for, this is Vd for electron and this is Vd for hole, don't forget that. So then just let me put the next step, Ne into E into A into what is Vd for electron? It is mu into E. So mu E into E, actually Vd only should come here, E, yeah, NEA Vd only will come here, plus N of hole into E into A. Instead of Vd, Vd of hole, it will be mu of hole into E. Then what will I become? If I take, what can be taken common? If you see E, A and E, they are common here. So if I take E, A, E common, what remains inside is Ne mu E plus NH mu H. This is the relationship between current and mobility for semiconductors. Now we know that I is also equal to V by R, isn't it? Because by Ohm's law we know that V is equal to IR, so I can write I is equal to V by R, and we know that V is equal to E into L, so I can be written as E into L divided by R. R is rho L by A, so rho into L by A will go above, isn't it? So now if you see here, I is equal to EAE, this thing here, I is equal to this quantity, L gets cancelled, that is equal to EA by rho. Then this, let this be equation number 1, let this be equation number 2. So from 1 and 2 what we can write? From equation number 1 and 2, if you relate these two, you will get an expression EA by rho is equal to EAE into NE mu E plus NH mu H. So if you see here EA gets cancelled, and what is 1 by rho? 1 by rho is conductivity. So conductivity is equal to E into Ne mu E plus NH mu H. This is the relationship between the conductivity and the mobility. So formula for conductivity of electrons is E into Ne mu E plus NH mu H, and relationship of electron, current of semiconductor with mobility is this thing. So these things are very important for numericals. Let us see some numericals based upon this. Let us see one question. A semiconductor has the electron concentration of 0.45 10 to the power 12 per meter cube and the hole concentration of 5 10 to the power 20 per meter cube. Find the conductivity. Direct formula based question. Okay, yeah, see here the SI unit of mobility also is given. So SI unit of mobility we can find. See, mobility mu was equal to what? Drift velocity per unit electric field. What is the SI unit of drift velocity? Meter per second. What is the SI unit of electric field? It will be voltmeter. So, volt per meter, sorry. So, what it will be? Meter per second by volt per meter, it will be meter square V minus 1 S minus 1. That is the SI unit of mobility. So, what is the formula of sigma? Sigma is equal to, you just seen the formula of sigma, it came to be equal to E into mu E N E plus mu H N H. So, what is E? 1.6 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb, and what is the mu E value given? 0.135 into 10 to the, sorry, 0.135 alone is given, 0.135, and what is Ne? N concentration of electron is given as 0.45 into 10 to the power 12 plus what is mu H? 0.048 into 5 into 10 to the power 20. So, if you solve this, that much will be the conductivity. What is the SI unit of conductivity? We know that conductivity is 1 by resistivity. What is the resistivity the SI unit? Resistivity is R into A by L, that is equal to ohm meter square by meter, that is ohm meter. Ohm meter is also called as Siemens. So, anything you can write. So, here it will be equal to ohm meter minus ohm minus 1 meter minus 1. So, ohm minus 1 meter minus 1, we can write here whatever comes, it will be ohm inverse meter inverse, that is the conductivity. Let us see the temperature dependence or the effect of temperature on resistivity. So, have you ever thought, if you have a conductor and you heat it, will its resistance increase or decrease? Can you have a thinking about it? Suppose I am having a conductor and I am heating it, it has some resistance value like resistivity, whatever I want to take, suppose it has resistivity rho naught. If I heat it, will its resistance increase or decrease? Pause the video for a minute, think about it, and then once again come back and see the video. I hope you have done that. And let me tell you, if you are thinking that resistivity will reduce as the temperature will increase, it is wrong, it is not correct. So, what happens when we increase the temperature, the resistivity also increases. But why does that happen? Let us see that. We know that rho is equal to m by n E square tau. This is the relationship of resistivity with relaxation time. What happens if you increase the temperature? When the temperature is increased, then the particles or the atoms or the electrons and the protons inside the element will start vibrating more fastly. If the vibration is more, then the chance of collision also increases. So, when the chance of collision is increasing, the relaxation time will reduce. It is colliding very fast, in very less time it is colliding. So, when the tau value is reducing, the resistivity will increase. This is the reason whenever you heat a conductor, its resistivity increases. Generally, we will think it will reduce, but it is not so. When we increase the temperature, as the relaxation time will get down, the resistivity will go up. Then how much it increases? There is a formula for that which relates this resistivity increase with the temperature change, and that is rho is equal to rho dash into 1 plus alpha T minus T naught. So, I will tell you what is this relation, where rho naught is the initial temperature. If it is not given, we will take reference temperature as, reference temperature is taken as sometimes 20 degrees Celsius, and alpha is the coefficient of resistivity. It is the coefficient of resistivity or thermal coefficient of resistivity also you can write, thermal coefficient of resistivity. T naught is the initial temperature and T is the final temperature. So, if it is not given, it is generally taken as 20 degrees Celsius. If it is mentioned, you can take whatever value is mentioned. So, if suppose a particular conductor is heated from 40 degree to 100 degree, then what would be its increase in resistivity? We can put the values here and you will get the answer. Alpha value will be given to you in the examination. It depends upon different materials, it will be different. So, alpha is thermal coefficient of resistivity. If you want to find what is the value of alpha from this, you can find. We can write like this, rho by rho naught is equal to 1 plus alpha into T minus T naught. Then what will happen? 1 will go this side. So, I will write rho by rho naught minus 1 is equal to alpha into T minus T naught. So, it will become rho alpha I am writing. So, alpha is equal to rho minus rho dash by rho naught into T minus T naught. So, this rho minus rho naught and T minus T naught, I can even write it as d rho by dt. So, you will also find alpha is written as either this formula or this formula, both are correct. So, alpha is 1 by rho into d rho by dt. This is the thermal coefficient of resistivity. So, thermal coefficient of resistivity, I mean, I have talked everything in terms of resistivity. If you want to write resistance, you can write, because we know that R is equal to rho L by A. So, for a given length and area of cross section, R is proportional to L, proportional to rho. So, I can write here also as R is equal to R naught into 1 plus alpha into T minus T naught. Even this is correct. So, the formula can even be like this. That is, R is equal to R naught 1 plus alpha T minus T naught. These two expressions tell us how the resistivity and resistance will increase when the temperature of any conductor is increasing. Let us talk about ohmic and non-ohmic conductors. So, ohmic conductors are those who obey Ohm's law. We know that Ohm's law is V is equal to IR. So, it has a linear relationship between current and voltage. So, suppose I draw a curve between current and voltage, and the curve is a straight line passing through the origin like this. Then this kind of conductors are called as ohmic conductors. So, the conductors which do not follow Ohm's law, they will be called as non-ohmic conductors. But there can be several reasons for being non-ohmic conductor. Sometimes a conductor which is ohmic at some temperature may start behaving as a non-ohmic conductor at a higher temperature, because we know that at higher temperature the resistance starts getting changed. So, if you see some conductors, they will behave as ohmic conductor, and then suddenly they will lose its straight line behavior and starts behaving as a non-ohmic conductor. If you take example of semiconductor, there you learn in the last chapter of this 12th that their behavior of VI graph is not linear, it is in this shape, it is in a curve. So, this kind of conductors which do not follow Ohm's law are known as non-ohmic conductors, and the conductors which follow Ohm's law are called as ohmic conductors. But it is not like, suppose copper follows Ohm's law, then copper will always remain ohmic conductor. We can make copper even to become a non-ohmic conductor at some very high temperatures. That is about ohmic and non-ohmic conductors. Let us also talk about superconductivity. Superconductivity, I think I have talked when I told about the bifurcation of materials based upon resistivity, and I said that it is possible at very low temperatures. We may make an particular conductor to lose all its resistivity. Resistivity can even become 0. Now, I told you resistivity depends upon the tau, the latent time. What if I make the tau to be infinite, very long, then R will become almost 0. We know that rho is equal to m by n e square tau. So, suppose if tau will tend towards infinite, then rho will tend towards 0, isn't it? So, how to make this tau to be infinite? That means it is not at all colliding. If we know that at higher temperatures the particle vibration increases, so at very low temperatures the vibration will reduce, and the vibration reduces, it is not allowing the two particles to even hit each other. So, at that kind of low temperatures the particles resistivity will become 0, and then its conductivity becomes very high. There will be no resistance in the conductor. That kind of property is called as superconductivity. Superconductivity is making the resistance to be 0, resistivity or resistance to be 0 at very low temperatures. So, like if I take the example of mercury at around some 4.2 Kelvin, see 4.2 Kelvin is how much low temperature? It is like in the ranges of minus 269 degrees Celsius. That much low temperatures, what will happen? The mercury will lose all its resistivity and will start behaving like a superconductor. Superconductors nowadays find lots of application in many fields, in quantum physics, in maglev trains, in levitations, a lot of places it has applications. So, superconductivity can be attained at very low temperatures. One more phenomenon linked with superconductivity is called as Meissner's effect. It is called as Meissner's effect. If you browse about it, you will know it is a very interesting phenomena. in which you can make things to float. You can make conductors or superconductors to float. So what is Maynard's effect? If a superconductor is kept, this is suppose this is a superconductor and it is kept in some magnetic field, that at very low temperatures the magnetic field lines force will be deflected and it will not pass through the conductor. It starts behaving like this, like this. So it will start repelling the magnetic lines of forces. So when this happens, if suppose I have a superconductor placed in line of magnetic field, it starts repelling and it will not touch this, it will start floating on it. So this principle is much of use when you go for levitations of magnetic levitations of train. So Maynard's effect is the repulsion of magnetic lines of forces when a superconductor is reaching its transition temperature. When I say transition temperature, it means the temperature at which the resistance becomes 0. So temperature at which the rho becomes 0 is known as transition temperature. It is called as transition temperature. So at transition temperatures, when a superconductor is kept, then if the magnetic lines of forces are there, they will not pass through it and your superconductor will start repelling that magnetic lines of forces. So the material starts floating. Lots of experiments are being done where they will use nitrogen and place some metal superconductors, and that superconductors will start floating over that nitrogen. So you can even browse about it, you will know more. So in today's class, we learned about mobility of charge carriers, we learned about temperature dependence of resistance, then we learned about ohmic and non-ohmic conductors, and we also saw what is superconductivity and Maynard's effect. In the next class, I'll talk about resistances in series and parallel. Till then, keep on watching the videos, like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe our channel. Thank you.